Brandon Johnson, a guy who had quite a bit of money, ended up losing his wallet full of cash in a humble neighborhood during a trip with his daughter. And, oh boy, the story that unfolded even made the heart of this experienced millionaire melt into tears. You want to know more about this story? Keep following us. Oh, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Brandon Johnson was on a ferry, returning from a sightseeing trip in Mexico City, when he realized his wallet was no longer in his pocket. This guy was a card-carrying millionaire, even appeared in Forbes as one of the super rich in the US, and was known as a top-notch philanthropist. Since the 90s, he's been investing in stores and such, while also lending a helping hand to those in need in the US and Latin America. That day, the millionaire was enjoying a touristy day with his daughter, Emma Johnson, who had just turned 18. The girl had traveled with her father a few times to that country, but this time she wanted to stay there for a while to experience everything to the fullest. When she turned 18, she asked to celebrate in Mexico, and her doting father took a week off to accompany her. Brandon called up a friend of his, who owns a fancy hotel, and the guy organized everything as if it were for his own daughter. It had been about 3 days into the trip, and they had already seen some top tourist spots, like Teotihuacan, the Basilica of Guadalupe, and Xochimilco, where they even took a little boat ride through the canals. On the way back, they passed through some very simple neighborhoods, and Hector, Brandon's friend, wanted to show them the more real side of Mexico. Emma wasn't too keen on the idea of strolling through the poor neighborhoods on her birthday of all days, but she held her ground to avoid stirring up trouble with her dad. It was summer. The ferry was packed with tourists, and father and daughter had done their part on the tour. As they were almost reaching the port, Brandon realized his wallet wasn't in his pocket. Cue the drama. He rummaged through his pockets, asked his daughter if she had seen it, looked all around. But no sign of the wallet, which had a good amount of cash inside. Emma, with a mix of concern and anger, didn't stay quiet. "Dad, I told you we shouldn't have gone there. Obviously, you got robbed." Brandon tried to calm his daughter, saying they couldn't be sure if he was really robbed. He could have lost it anywhere, even on that ferry full of tourists from around the world. The argument continued as the ferry approached the port. Emma, looking suspiciously at the people around them, said, "Just look at these folks. If someone had found it, they would have returned it by now. Don't you think?" And that's when Brandon and Emma were surprised by an act of kindness from a street kid. The story of this kid quickly spread. And what did he ask for as a reward? Well, that's a surprise you'll only find out if you keep watching until the end. So, hold on to this suspense, because this is one of those stories that make us ponder about what really matters in life. So, what would you do if you were in Brandon's shoes? Comment down below. I want to know your opinion. And don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more incredible stories, like this one. Brandon just mentioned he was hoping whoever found or took his wallet would give him a heads up and return it. Emma didn't know it yet, but this was soon going to have a heavy impact on her life. Over 2 hours passed. Back at the hotel, Brandon didn't receive a single phone call from anyone who found his wallet. The boat's staff also searched everything and found nothing. They were worried because the millionaire could even sue the company, but no one was more tense than Emma, his daughter. She knew that besides the money in there were several of her dad's credit cards that were essential for her birthday celebration. Nervous, Emma said that her father had definitely been robbed while they were on the island. "Don't you realize these people are using you, Dad? You went to that humble neighborhood with so much goodwill that they ended up deceiving you," she said, quite irritated. "And on my birthday, you took me exactly to a suburb. Look at what we got out of it." Brandon took a deep breath and said he loved Emma, but she needed to learn more about life. She was almost an adult, but still had a lot to experience. "Do you think life has always been easy for me?" "I've been on the other side, daughter," the philanthropist recounted. Brandon reminded her that he himself was born in a simple neighborhood in the United States. His mother was a cook and his father a tailor. At 14, Brandon started working at a department store in the capital to help at home. He only managed to study what he wanted when he was 24, by which time he was in a supervisory position at the store. He told his daughter that he had to go through a lot of tough times with bosses and customers to get where he is, that he had taken many buses in life just to go to work every single day, sometimes even skipping breakfast, and sometimes he wouldn't even have lunch. But things worked out in the end. "I was lucky, you know?" Luck can also change a life, my daughter, he said. He recalled the time he met his wife, Emma's mother, back in college, and how she died from tuberculosis. Even though he was incredibly rich, nothing money could buy was enough to save his wife from the disease. It was a huge blow in his life, but it also served as a reminder to stay humble. It was after this sad story, when Emma was only 3 years old, that Brandon also started to be seen as a philanthropist. Despite the plans for the birthday being somewhat ruined, at least he and Emma were safe, in a top-notch hotel that had been paid for a month earlier, a luxury for very few in this world, he recalled. The daughter listened in silence. The next day, the millionaire's phone rang. It was an unknown number. When he answered, the person on the other end said they had found his wallet and gave an address that was quite far away, outside the tourist area. Seeing her father getting ready to leave with a smile on his face, Emma protested. "Dad, think about it. It could be a setup. How do we know it's true?" Brandon said it wasn't a problem. The caller seemed genuine. Emma called the security guard who was always nearby and explained the situation. The security guard showed up at Emma's room and tried to convince Brandon not to go there. But Brandon simply said he would trust his intuition, wanting to get his wallet back to continue enjoying the celebrations of that promising trip. And so, the three of them left the fancy hotel and headed towards the address. As the security guard drove down the avenue, they left the tourist area and arrived in a simpler, less busy neighborhood. Emma was nervous. Her birthday turned into an adventure full of adrenaline. Every motorcycle that passed by the car made her heart beat faster. If they stopped at a red light, she would tense up and not move a muscle, looking at the cars around them as if she was expecting a weapon to appear. The security guard's presence didn't make Emma feel more relaxed or protected. That place was really strange. Brandon, on the other hand, was calm. Somehow, that place brought back memories of his youth. Emma didn't understand how her father could be so relaxed. After all, it wasn't just his safety at stake, but hers too. Finally, they arrived at the designated location, in an area full of very simple houses. The security guard didn't let Brandon get out of the car. He clapped his hands, and soon a child appeared. He held the man's wallet in his small hands. He stood there waiting at the gate while the security guard took the item to the philanthropist. Brandon quickly saw that it was indeed his wallet, and upon opening it, he found that all his documents, cards, and money were there. Nothing missing. The boy must have been around 13 years old, slim, with lively eyes and simple clothes that didn't look very new. Certainly his situation was not much better than Brandon's when he was that age. The millionaire then got out of the car with his daughter and thanked the boy for returning the wallet. "Kid, you saved me from a lot of trouble. Thank you," he said. The boy took advantage of the kindness of this well-dressed man and asked if he could have $2. Upon hearing this, Emma started nervously laughing. "See, didn't I say so? Thank goodness we brought the security guard," she said. "What's the problem, honey?" Brandon asked. "Just give him all the money before his accomplices show up, Dad. Let's get out of here." The boy was a bit embarrassed by Emma's reaction and explained, "It's not like that, ma'am. I just don't have a phone. So I had to use the only money I had to call you from a payphone. I spent last night begging on the street, but I didn't get anything. So I used the money I was saving to buy a cake for my sister. It's her birthday tomorrow." Brandon became interested in the boy's story and asked him to tell more, much to Emma's complete horror. The boy then said his name was Javier and that he didn't remember much of his past and what he had experienced in the early years of his life. He had never met his father and had been living on the streets with his mother and sister for over a year. There was a shelter a few blocks away where several homeless people gathered to spend the night, and that's where what was left of his family was. Javier recounted that, when they still lived in a small apartment, he remembered having a birthday and the cake his mother made to celebrate. It was the only party the boy had ever had in his life. The cake was small, and only his mother and younger sister were there to sing happy birthday, but that was the happiest memory of his life. And now, even after they had been evicted, he wanted to ensure that his sister felt the same happiness. That's why Javier was asking for money on the street, to try to buy a cake for his sister. Emma couldn't hold back the tears and placed her hands on her chest. The girl who until recently had been scared of that place and suspicious of the boy's intentions now felt ashamed for making such hasty judgments. To top it off, Javier's sister had her birthday on the same day as hers. Surprising everyone, Emma handed Javier a card from the luxury hotel where she was staying, telling him, his mother, and sister to go there the next day. She asked her father and opened his wallet, taking out $300 bills and giving them to the boy. "Javier, use this money to buy some clothes for you and your family, all right? Otherwise, you might not even make it to the hotel reception," she said. Then they all said their goodbyes. On the way back, Brandon asked the security guard to take them to the restaurant he had reserved for Emma's birthday party. But she interrupted him and suggested they go straight back to the hotel. "What's wrong, honey?" the millionaire asked. "Dad, what we would spend on one night there could feed Javier's family for a month. Let's just go back to the hotel and order a pizza while we plan what to do tomorrow. Sound good?" Brandon agreed. He looked proudly at his daughter. It seemed like his years as a philanthropist were finally making a difference in her life. The next day, Javier, his sister Yolanda, and their mother Rosa managed to go to a clothing store. They left with new clothes and feeling very good. The money Emma gave them was enough not only for the clothes, but also for them to have a breakfast they hadn't had in over a year, pay for bus tickets to the hotel, and still have some left. When they arrived at the hotel and saw that it was a 5-star one, they were a bit shy. Javier's mother had always dreamed of visiting such a place, and now that she was there, she didn't know how to act. When they entered the lobby, a receptionist took them to a garden with a green lawn and a table all decorated with colorful flowers. Javier's sister said it was the most beautiful place she had ever seen. Her eyes were sparkling. Emma appeared and said that all of this was for them, and the girl couldn't contain her happiness. Brandon had asked his friend who managed the hotel chain to invite all the families with children who were staying there to a birthday party, and many showed up in the garden, running and playing with Yolanda and Javier. Emma was as happy as the children. For the first time, she understood how her father felt when helping people. Javier and Yolanda tried mousse for the first time and got messy with a huge chocolate cake. Rosa, Yolanda, and Javier's mother was moved by everything and received a hug from Emma, who was also trying to hold back tears on her first day as an 18-year-old. Brandon knew that a birthday party wouldn't be enough to help that family, so he took Rosa to the friend who supervised the hotel. The millionaire explained that he was surprised to see that her son had returned the wallet intact, even with the difficulties he and his family were facing, and that if her son had such good character, it could only be a reflection of good upbringing. "Congratulations on raising your son," he said, and Rosa thanked him. The hotel supervisor then said that maybe he could help her. "Recently, I found out that one of the cleaning staff was involved in a scheme of small thefts within the hotel. She and 2 other employees were stealing things from foreign guests, and they only found out when the guests returned to their countries," said the supervisor, leaving Rosa confused. Then he explained that after identifying those involved, they were all fired, and now they needed a new person to head the cleaning team. "I don't know if it was just luck or something more, Mrs. Rosa, but when your son returned the wallet intact, he changed the fate of your entire family. If you're interested, I would like the position of head of housekeeping to be yours. What do you think?" said the supervisor. Rosa was shocked. She never dreamed that one day she would set foot in such a hotel, and now she was not only experiencing a party for her daughter, but also receiving a job offer. She was embarrassed and said she didn't know if she could handle the position, and the supervisor quickly replied, "Oh, Mrs. Rosa, the most important thing you already have, character and integrity." The following week, that family's life completely changed. Javier and Yolanda went to school by bus, wearing new clothes and with school supplies. Rosa took a bus to the city's waterfront, where she would start working at a 5-star hotel. She felt like the luckiest woman in the world. As for Brandon and Emma, they continued the trip they had planned. But nothing else brought them the same happiness that Emma felt during the party in the hotel garden. Emma finally looked at her father and could understand why he never settled for just being a millionaire. What truly made him happy was doing good for others. Now, she understood. If you enjoyed the story, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel.